Hi, everybody. Hope you're doing marvelously well. We are going to review a new product that's been out for a couple of weeks now by Slate Digital, and it is MetaTune. Always a contentious subject when it comes to tuning anything, let alone vocals. But let's check out MetaTune. First, I just want to let you know that our good friend, Mr. Adam Steele, is going to follow me here and give you his impressions as well, because he's a Reaper user, and so many of you use Reaper as well as Pro Tools, as well as Logic, etc. So we're going to bring in as many people as we can, as often as we can, to give different perspectives in their DAW, and also give you their experience of using the plugins that we're trying out. Okay, well, this is going to be interesting because I have not done anything with it yet. Absolutely nothing. So I'm doing this from scratch. Now, I've got the Katie Ferrara track that we did the other day. And the reason why I'm using this is because we didn't tune a single note. She sang this down, and I think it is all of one take. I think we did like 3 takes. It's all of one take, and we just took the second pre-chorus and used it again on the first. That is the only thing we did. If you download the multi-tracks, link below, you'll see what I mean. But there's no tuning on it. You can hear that there's no tuning. There is a bit of wavering in the vocals, and it's quite pleasing. However, when I tune, I usually go into a graphical mode. Meaning I just go there and I listen to a whole phrase and maybe take a piece of a note, a piece of a word that I find annoying, not by looking at, by hearing, and then just tune that word or that syllable sometimes and leave everything else alone. I really don't like to go in there and draw everything in. I know that's how most modern pop music is done, where it's all just tuned perfectly through the whole thing. And that is a genre and that's a style. And maybe if I was doing something with, an EDM track, I might do that. I don't know. If I want to build that kind of effect, maybe that's something to do. But 99% of the time, I'm recording a vocal over a piano or an acoustic guitar or organic instruments that tend to sort of breathe themselves with the tuning. So it doesn't make much sense to get in there and make a vocal absolutely perfect, because maybe the instruments they're tracking over also are imperfect. So I use my ears and make choices using the graphical mode. Now, when Slate contacted us and said, do you want to try it out? I told them that I work in graphical. And they said, well, we think we have figured that out. How you can use this subtly and just get it to tune lightly in areas that might need it. So they've challenged me. And before we go on, they are giving us 3 copies to give away. So you can go down there and enter to win one of the 3 copies. All right, here's Katie's vocal.
I get so lost sometimes. Days pass and this emptiness fills my heart.
I want to do this in a real world situation. Now, Katie actually said to me she wasn't sure if the first word of the song needed a little bit of tuning. Let's have a listen.
Love.
She kind of goes, love. She goes a little bit up and above. She starts off and comes down on the note. They've got this little welcome tutorial. It says, choose your scale. Okay, that's good. Control how fast the notes are corrected. Speeds between 3 and 20 milliseconds produce a classic robotic effect. Control how fast the notes are corrected. Negative speeds create an even harder effect. Works great with note stabilizing activated. Okay. Sustain dynamically adjusts the speed setting of held notes. Negative values retune the sustain part of the longer notes more slowly. Amount. At 100%, full retuning is heard. At 0%, no retuning is heard. Get a more natural sound effect with lower amount values. Note stabilizer. Prevents retuning during vibratos and when transitioning between notes. Interesting. Groups. Group multiple instances of MetaTune to link their settings and adjust to multiple tracks at the same time. Again, click on the Slate Digital logo to reopen these tutorials. I'll open the manual. So it looks like I got note, major, minor chords. Oh, this is going to be for doing clever things, I imagine. Okay, hover over to set scale. Here is E major selected. So let's see what happens.
Love,
Bypassed.
love,
Enabled.
love,
That definitely pulled it in. Wasn't really audible. Let's try it again.
love. I get so lost sometimes.
So let's listen to that phrase with it off. I am just using the stock settings at the moment. I haven't adjusted anything. I've got the retune speed here. We've got the controls, the amount of pitch correction applied. We've got 100%. So here's bypass is the original phrase. And then in the middle of it, I'll put it back on and see what you think.
I get so lost sometimes.
On.
I get so lost sometimes. I get so lost sometimes.
Bypass.
I get so lost sometimes.
I think the only thing that really noticeable is on the sometimes. So let's increase the speed so it happens quicker and see how that feels.
I get so lost sometimes.
So you can hear it going straight to the note and it immediately sounds like T-Pain. So just for silliness, I'm going to put it on faster speed.
I get so lost sometimes.
Instant share, which is not what I'm going for, but if you are doing EDM or something where you want that effect, you can get it pretty quickly. So I'm going to go back. So I'm moving it so it's slower retune speed.
I get so lost sometimes.
So it's fairly natural. I made it a little bit longer now, so it's 22 milliseconds. I'm going to change the speed value based on the note length. So I'm just going to increase this and see what happens.
I get so lost sometimes. I get so lost sometimes.
Now that sometimes now is really noticeably tuned, actually to its benefit, but maybe notes earlier are sounding too perfect now. I'm going to increase it and exaggerate it.
I get so lost sometimes.
So it kind of goes times.
I get so lost sometimes.
Bypass.
I get so lost sometimes.
Yeah, it's definitely evened out the times, and it's also the lost. It's reduced where it just goes sharp above the lost and then comes back in tune. So have a listen now to that.
I get so lost sometimes.
So she goes a little bit sharp on the front of that lost, and then she just kind of dies off on the sometimes. Now it's unbypass it, so now it's working, and see if it's fixed it.
I get so lost sometimes.
Now it's making lost. It's actually making two separate notes. So I'm going to bring the sustain down.
I get so lost.
It's better.
Sometimes.
Long does not correct to notes shorter than 200 milliseconds. Useful on vibratos, but can affect the melody. Okay. Mid does not correct to notes shorter than 80 milliseconds. So this is interesting. So it's stopping like little tiny notes getting corrected. Short does not correct to notes shorter than 40 milliseconds. Okay, which is what we've got it on. Deactivates note stabilizer. Okay, low latency's on. I'm going to go, before we go anywhere else, I'm actually just going to go to a different section. This part she sings here. Let's listen to it in bypass.
But whichever way I go, I come back to the place you are.
Let's put it on.
But whichever way I go, I come back to the place you are.
And again.
But whichever way I go, I come back to the place you are. whichever way I go.
So on the weather, I almost hear it going up the notes. So I'm going to go to the mid setting and see if it's going to let those little short notes disappear now and not be effective. So now we're on the mid setting on the note stabilizer.
But whichever way I go, I come back to the place you are. But whichever way I go,
It's a little tunedy, so I'm bringing down. The thing is, she's so perfect in pitch that often when somebody's really, really good and then you tune them some more, it can get quite mechanical. So I'm bringing down the sustain, and I'm going to bring down the amount now. So let's try this.
but whichever way I go, I come back to the place you are. But whichever way I go, I come back to the place you are.
That's pretty tasty. With the amount down, I'm even going to come down a little bit more. And I like this graphic here, the way it's, you see it shrinking here? I like this. For a singer as good as Katie, who doesn't need any tuning, this was not tuned in the first place, doesn't need any tuning at all, it's actually quite tasty just for little subtle amounts. I'm probably getting it to a point now where it's not going to do much at all, but maybe it's going to catch those little subtle things. When I spoke to Slate Digital, this is what they said to me, because I said, look, I work in graphical. I only correct minor things. And they're like, you can use it that way. You can use it so it barely does anything and it just corrects the minor stuff.
But whichever way I go, I come back.
I can't tell if that way is being affected by the tuner.
But whichever way I go,
Let's bypass it and listen.
but whichever way I go, but whichever way I go,
She's so perfect on that note already. So let's bring the amount down a little bit more.
but whichever way I go, I come back to the place you are.
I mean, that sounds absolutely unbelievably good.
Place you are.
Bypass it.
Place you are.
That's pretty perfect. It just tugged it in ever so lightly. Now I'm going to bring the amount down even more. And the speed down even more. And the sustain down even more. I'm really trying to make this do the least amount. Here we go.
Place you are.
Interesting. So you can use it subtly. We first used it and made it do some silliness. This would be interesting to hear on one of my vocals, something that is not very good. Okay, so I'm going to go back in time to when I did Austrian audio demo, and I sang a live vocal. In fact, I played all the instruments. I played drums, bass, guitars, you name it, ukulele even. This is pretty raw. Because the thing about that microphone was it was recording both sides of the capsule, and then you could change the polar pattern afterwards. So you couldn't get in there and tune it because you would have completely destroyed the relationship between the front and the back, and it would have made the whole thing ridiculous. So consequently, it's not my finest vocal performance. It's a live take. And look, let's be honest, I'm not a great singer as it is. I can write songs. Doesn't mean I'm the right person to sing them. Okay, so it's in the key of G. So we can go and select G up here. Here's the first line of the first verse.
Your laugh, your smile, you drive me wild. Your eyes intoxicate.
Average at best. And here we got the MetaTune on. It's at the default setting, key of G. Let's have a listen.
Your laugh, your smile, you drive me wild. Your eyes intoxicate.
Bring the speed up.
Your laugh, your smile, you drive me wild. Your eyes intoxicate. Your laugh, your smile, you drive me wild. Your eyes eyes intoxicate. Your laugh, your smile, you drive me wild. Your eyes intoxicate. Your laugh, your smile,
Bring the sustain up.
drive me wild. Your eyes intoxicate.
As soon as I brought the sustain up, you heard that wild. So I'm going to bring the amount down, increase the sustain.
Your laugh, your smile, you drive me wild. Your eyes intoxicate. Your laugh, your smile, you drive me wild. Your eyes.
So the melody is like, your life is G, G, A, B, G, G, A, B, G, G, D, C, B, G, A. Let's have a listen again.
Your laugh, your smile, you drive me wild. Your eyes intoxicate.
So on the drive, it's doing an F sharp to a G. So what I'm going to do, I like that, because here's the melody. Then it's D, C, B, G, A. So the problem we're having is this F sharp is coming in because I'm not singing straight to the notes. I'm doing a little climb up to it. So why don't we remove that from it? So it looks like I can customize it by just hitting a note like this. And it just removed F sharp. So let's have a listen now.
Your laugh, your smile, you drive me wild. Your eyes intoxicate.
So it's hitting this D. Your life, your smile, you drive me wild. So let's remove that E. Gone. Let's have a listen now.
Your laugh, your smile, you drive me wild. Your eyes intoxicate.
Bring the speed down.
Your laugh, your smile, you drive me wild.
Speed down even more.
Eyes intoxicate.
Amount down.
Your laugh, your smile, you drive me wild. Your eyes intoxicate.
Well, I've been able to accomplish that by bringing the speed down, bringing the amount down, bringing the sustain down. I went to mid there, so it says, does not correct to notes shorter than 80 milliseconds. Now I think it sounds a lot more natural.
Your laugh, your smile, you drive me wild. Your eyes intoxicate.
I'm going to put the amount back up.
Your laugh, your smile, you drive me wild. Your eyes intoxicate. Your laugh, your smile, you drive me wild. Your eyes intoxicate. Your laugh, your smile, you drive me wild. Your eyes intoxicate.
So it's quite exaggerated when I do that. So I'm going to bring it down here, bring it down there. Let's try it in the track, and I'm going to bypass it and put it back in, and let's have a listen.
Your laugh, your smile, you drive me wild. Your eyes intoxicate.
Bring it down a little bit more.
Your laugh, your smile, you drive me wild. Your eyes intoxicate.
Now it's bypass.
Your laugh, your smile, you drive me wild. Your eyes intoxicate.
So on the drive and the in from the intoxicate, I'm very out of tune. So let's see what it does now that we've adjusted all of these settings.
Your laugh, your smile, you drive me wild. Your eyes intoxicate.
Let's just be really, really blunt. One of the things comes down to the quality of the singer. I'm not a good singer. Katie's a phenomenal singer. When we got in there with Katie and we just did some light stuff and only had it working on those sort of 2 moments, it was beautiful. It wasn't really necessary, maybe because she's such an incredible singer, but if you wanted to make it just a little bit more pop, when you've got somebody who's more naturally a great gifted singer like Katie Ferrara, not a problem. With me, it's a lot more dramatic. I mean, these are full live takes that I did. There's a full live takes. There's going to be tons of pitch issues. And once more, I'm not a good singer. Ultimately, you have to have a good ear for using a tool like this. It's not going to be idiot-proof because to make it feel natural, you've still got to be able to hear when the note is going in and out of pitch. So we're back to Katie's vocal here, and we're going to take a section here, we're going to try the doubler.
I get so lost sometimes.
Oh, wow.
Days pass, and this emptiness fills my heart. When I want to run away, I drive off in my car.
Okay, we know we're going to hear this on records. This is pretty cool. This is pretty darn cool.
I get so lost sometimes. Days pass, and this emptiness fills my heart.
We're going to hear a lot of records using that doubler. That's pretty darn cool. So we got Lily Lewis here. Great singer. So I'm just going to see how it sounds on Lily's voice, because this is a bit more pop. It's got real instruments in as well, but it's a bit more of a pop song.
You've got your other one, the one that you go to when my hands are
I want to hear this doubler.
You've got a right to love, but this isn't right by me. You've got your other one, the one that you go to when my hands are full. You've got a right to love, but this isn't right by me. You've got your other one, the one that you go to.
Turn it off.
When my hands are full, you've got a right to love, but this isn't right by me.
That doubler is going to get a lot of use. I know I said that earlier, but it's pretty darn cool. So it's retuning pretty quick, doing the key of B, we're adding the doubler. It's pretty nifty. I think ultimately with all of these kind of tuning tools, you do have to have a good ear and know what you're going for. But they are giving us very, very simple tools. Some of the other tools we use are very fiddly. You've got little tiny controls. This is big, huge knobs to play with and adjust. So they're making it simple. They've got a graphic here showing you what's going on. The keyboard's down there. Obviously, they've spent a lot of time and thought and energy putting together a GUI that works really nicely. So without any further ado, let's go and check out what Adam Steele from Hot Pulse Studios has to say about this.
Hello everybody, Adam Steele from Hot Pulse Studios here, and today I'm at home in Studio B mixing on my other mixing setup, and we're checking out MetaTune, with Reaper specifically of course, so there we go. You'll see there's a song that I've been working on by a band called Maysetto called Mr. Sandman. And it's a proper big rock song. And it's got 6, 7, 8, 9 vocal channels. And I've used MetaTune on all of them. So this is the main verse vocal. Let's play this for a second. And I'll talk you through a couple of the functions I've used specifically.
Just learn to walk next to all the poison in your veins. You know that it got heavy, loaded, fastened, foreboded.
Just let the delay go for a second. Now, this is a particularly rocky song, so I really didn't want the kind of tuning effect to be incredibly obvious. But this is the kind of thing where I wanted a lot of feeling and emotion to be in the lyrics, because it's a very dark song, really. So I first changed the speed on this particular vocal, this being the verse vocal. It's a single track. And so we went from the default of 25-ish milliseconds to nearer to 50. And then there's the sustain control. And you might notice this little bar under here. I'm going to hit play and you'll see the bar move. And so the longer the notes are, you'll see the retuning speed dynamically change.
Just learn to walk, thanks to all the poison in your veins. You know that it got heavy, loaded, fast.
Which really makes it quite human. And I'm using the note stabilizer on short term, but there's one note in here that isn't right. So I went from chromatic mode. I chose G sharp minor, which is what this part is in. I mean, it's the Aeolian mode, but close enough if we're not getting fancy. And there's a couple of times where this D sharp and E, it's detecting the wrong one. It seems that the singer was a little too far off. So what I'm going to do is use a feature of Reaper, which is if I press the trim button, I can show you every single possible automatable thing on here. And what I'm going to do is show the track for E. I know you can do this in other DAWs as well, but being the Reaper guy, this is me. So what I can do, because I've chosen G sharp minor, I can manually turn off that E, so it's not allowed to tune to that. So
Thanks to all the poison in your veins.
There, that poison in your veins should be poison in your veins.
In your veins.
So what I'm going to do is, just for this particular section, I'm going to add some automation points. And just for that section, it's not allowed to use an E.
Just learn to walk, thanks to all the poison in your veins. You know that it got heavy, loaded, fast and foreboded. When did all this go wrong?
Actually, that whole section, there are a few similar points. So what I'm going to do, later on in the song, it does use that E as part of a kind of a chord modulation.
Loaded, fast and foreboded. When did all this go wrong? You know he's slowly moving on.
There, you see, because the guitar chords have changed underneath, it needs that E in there now to do the melodic feeling, but the rest of it was almost pentatonic for that section. Now let's move on to the chorus quickly. The chorus, I have a very similar setup on the main chorus vocal, but this is now grouped. So this is grouped to the verse vocal so that any settings that we change affect them equally. But then I have another vocal underneath where I have used the doubler and gone absolutely crazy with it. Now, if I only had the one vocal on the chorus, I could use the doubler here to make it sound much bigger on the chorus.
Call him Mr. Sandman, I don't mind. He'll come and watch you while you sleep at night. You want...
Which sounds really good, but I already have a second vocal. So the second vocal, I'm absolutely going crazy with the doubling.
Call him Mr. Sandman, I don't mind.
And the two together give me this effect.
Call him Mr. Sandman, I don't mind. He'll come and watch you while you sleep at night. You wanna be the princess in his dreams, then he'll slip away with you. They call him Mr.
And the backing vocals all have MetaTune on, and these are grouped. There are 6 of them in group 2. And these are all, I've used the relative major for key, but I think it's the same notes. It's relative B major to G sharp minor. And so I just copy pasted it across all of them. And now I've got the doubler enabled. And if there's anything I need to change, I change it once and it changes across all 6 of those backing vocals, which again saves me time. I'm not changing it 6 different times. So we get this. Instead of global bypass, which is much less close to the right notes. So
You'll come and watch you while you sleep at night. You wanna be the princess in his dreams, then he'll slip away with you. They call him Mr. Sandman, one of a kind. You wanna stay away from him tonight. You're gonna be the story of this day. That's just the price you pay. You know we'll say.
And you can see on the backing vocals this heat map here. You can see how close or not close the vocals were to those particular notes and how close they are on the output, which gives you a visual representation of just how much tuning is actually being done, which again, for backing vocals, I'm not particularly precious. With the main vocal, I tend to be quite light, light touch. And so this is working perfectly for me. So there you go. Works in Reaper, sounds great. The group functions and all the other functions, really useful. Thanks, Warren. Back to you.
So thanks ever so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. Don't forget, you can enter to win one of 3 copies down below of this plugin. Thanks ever so much, Slate, for letting us try it out and letting us give away 3 copies. In summation for me, I think it sounds good. I think that it's laid out really, really easily so anybody can understand it. It's got a big keyboard. It's got big knobs to adjust. It's not fiddly. It's not like, there's not a huge learning curve. The doubler is fantastic. It's going to get a lot of use. You're going to hear it on lots of records. It's a quick and easy way of getting a good effective doubler. And generally speaking, it sounds really good if you use your ears and adjust using your ears. Once again, the controls are easy to see, easy to find, easy to use. So, you should pride yourself as an engineer or producer or musician and having a good ear. So I don't think it'll be difficult for most people to get really good, usable results. Thanks ever so much for watching. So long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, au revoir, adios, goodbye.